Hi everybody, my name's John Lacey. Welcome to this unscheduled stream. I decided, because it is the Easter long weekend here in Australia, I thought I would try and do something a little bit different. I'm just going to hang out, I'm going to play some music, going to do a bit of chatting, going to do some editing over in Camtasia. So if you want to hang out, just let me know where you're watching from in the comments, say hello, whatever you want to do, it's all good. Clearly, I have left my my phones are beeping in a way that they don't normally do because I always have them on mute, but I don't today. So let me just turn that off for starters. It's very annoying. Okay, cool. So we'll change that. All right, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get stuck in. Like I said, today this is very impromptu. I just want to sort of... I was watching Walter Strong from the Huddle earlier today talking about repurposing, and I know there are a lot of AI tools out there that do all of the things. I shouldn't say this, but let's be real. I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to do things manually myself. So I thought I would take you through the process, or a little bit of the process anyway. We'll see how we go in terms of actually repurposing this stuff. So I've got Camtasia open behind me here. I've got a number of different recordings here. So first of all, I've got me. So I'm going to come down here and we're going to need some new tracks. So I'm going to go insert track above, insert track above. Okay, so I'm going to say this one down the bottom is full recording. This one here is John Vertical. Actually, I've got probably more than I need here, but that's fine. Let's roll with it. And we're going to go Sam horizontal. So this is actually from a live stream we did yesterday. Normally, I'd probably only have the 3 videos here. Sam did have some internet issues and did have to drop out for a little bit. So I do have 2 recordings out of StreamYard for him. We tend to do these via StreamYard, although there is a bit of OBS magic in everything we do because it's just how we roll. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drag me in down here. And this is actually a vertical recording of my side of the conversation. And again, I'm going to have to sort of, I'm going to use the main recording to try and sort of basically line these up a little bit. But after I've done that, I'm not going to use the recording at all. But essentially, there you go. You can see me. I've already got some of my branding elements in here. I should say the other thing too is I will hear the audio here, but you won't necessarily hear it. So that's fine. But what I kind of want to do, I'm going to drag the recording. I'm going to put this underneath here, or maybe even on top of it, just to give you a sense of what this looks like. Ultimately, I'm only bringing this in to sort of line clips up, and I'm going to get rid of that eventually. But it is great to sort of have that there in the background, although I'll put it in the foreground for the moment. And what I want to do is basically just find the start point. So I'm going to click through and try and work out where that is. And I'm going to play some music in the background. If the music's too loud, just let me know. So the thing about this is I have to line these up, which is always interesting. So, I mean, I can sort of see here what we normally do is we play some music at the beginning of the show. And then after that, we start fresh. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to hit, I think it's B. No, it's S in Camtasia. I'm just going to clip that out. And I'm actually going to come in here and go ripple delete, which will bring that back to the beginning. And essentially what I want to do is I want to line up this vertical clip as well. So I'm going to just do the same sort of thing, hit S, split that track, and I know I saw that keyboard shortcut a moment ago, but I've already forgotten what it was, but that's okay. Control backspace, ripple delete. And this is the point at which it's often really useful to actually get in and see what's happening with the waveform to sort of line these up as much as I can. Again, it doesn't really need to be perfect, but it's a good starting point to actually bring these clips together. And the more I zoom in, sort of the better I can actually get at doing this. So I can sort of say, okay, it looks like it basically starts somewhere around here. I will just nudge that forward a little bit. Okay, so that's a great example. And again, I know you can't hear that audio, but I can certainly hear it. And the thing that's happening here is that because they are so close together, I'm actually sort of hearing almost as a double in the background there. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to come in here and let's just ripple delete it to get rid of that first couple of seconds there as well. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So probably what I need to do next is work out where Sam starts talking. Because I must admit, I'm very good at talking. I can do that quite a lot. So what I want to do is I'm going to keep coming in here until I sort of see Sam move a little bit. Get a sense of where he actually starts. Probably can't get a word in edgewise, which is often our dynamic. I'm going to zoom out quite a bit because I'm not seeing him start. So I have a weird feeling it's probably around here because his audio seems very spiky. Okay, so his audio, and the other thing too about Camtasia specifically is it will generally want to sort of normalize loudness. I don't really want that to happen here. And there's a really good chance I won't use the beginning of Sam's recording because of that little outage that we had. But that's full recording anyway. So what I want to do, in some ways, I kind of know this is the Sam starting point. So I can... Okay, I don't want to do that. Yep. Just going to put a marker in here for the moment. And I'm only doing this temporarily. I'll just go Sam starts from here. And I'm going to come in and maybe just go back a little bit with our timeline. So I've got Sam 1. So I've got these 2 recordings here. Okay, the interesting thing about this, and let's play some other music. That's the same music. Let's do something different. In the background. Okay, so I can see this is basically where Sam starts. In reality, he doesn't start talking on his recording until over here. So what I might do, just for argument's sake, because normally I guess what I'd be inclined to do is move the rest of the track forward and then bring him in. But I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm sort of curious. This might even give me some indication of this. So about 1 minute 12. Okay. All right, cool. I'm going to just, as soon as Camtasia catches up for me, let's see if I can deselect that. I don't know, it's going to play nicely for me. It's one of those great things that you can... Okay, there we go. All right, so about 112, I'm going to just make an educated guess that that's where I want to be. So I'm going to split Sam's track here. Let's go and ripple delete. It's Control Backspace. I'll probably never remember that, but that might be a tip for you. And again, I'm just using Camtasia because it's a thing that I'm sort of comfortable and familiar with. And I can see here we're still potentially some distance away. So again, there's probably some science to this. I'm not even going to lose too much sleep over it. I think I'm just going to sort of arbitrarily cut there. Let's ripple delete it. There's a really good chance that the beginning of the show is not the part I want to use as clips anyway, so that's fine. Let's ripple delete that again. I mean, it's getting closer all the time, but it's still annoying that it's so nudged forward. So again, I don't know. Clearly this is not working particularly well for me, but I'm just trying to get a sense of how long this actually is. So the duration is about, let's say about 8 seconds, I think. Deselect that. Split it here. I think it was Control Backspace. Let's just try it as the keyboard shortcut. There we go. I can be taught. Again, it's very close, but it's not quite there, so that's really annoying. I'm just gonna... I might even just try and eyeball it a little bit. So let's select everything except Sam. Let's move forward. And again, this is a great opportunity to sort of zoom in a little bit. So I'm imagining it's probably about there. I'll just have a listen to this, and again, I realize you can't hear this. Just turn off that auto normalize the volume because it's just a little bit too spiky there. It's close, but it's not quite there. So let's zoom in even more. And again, I want to select everything except that one. About there, perhaps. And again, maybe I should have shared the audio with you so you could get a sense of that. But the great thing about this is that when they're close, you kind of get that delay. It's sort of an effect that they would use in a lot of pop music. But essentially, I can sort of hear the doubling up of that. And now all I really want to do now is just sort of go back to the beginning, find out where these clips actually start, and just ripple delete everything sort of in sync. So let's, and again, going to try and learn my keyboard shortcuts here and go Control Backspace. And it should get all three of those together. Okay, that's awesome. So normally that's probably all I would need to do, but because I know I've got this second clip of Sam because he did cut out, I'm just going to try and get a sense of where that is, because there was definitely a bit of a cut somewhere around here between, yeah, so he's left. I can actually see visually in the main video where he's gone and when he's coming back, so it's probably a little bit earlier than this, but let's just bring it in there and see what it sounds like. And again, I realize I keep saying this, but I realize this is where oops, that's the same one again. I don't want that a second time. I want number 2. Let's bring that in. Okay, so I can see basically that Sam comes in about there. Let's just bring this track back because it was obviously recording locally before he was brought back onto the canvas. Let's just see. And again, zooming in might help a little bit here. So I can see like his audio seems to be a little bit spikier than mine, which is fine. We can deal with that. But let's. I'm just imagining it's somewhere out here. Okay, so it may actually even be closer to the beginning of this clip. So let me just see what happens here, because I kind of welcome him back and he says hi and thanks and whatever. Let's just hear what that sounds like. And again, I will hear this. Okay, so again, I know you can't hear that, but I'm guessing that this clip starts somewhere around here. So I'm gonna nudge it into place. So about here. And I do tend to do this with the mouse. I realize you could probably do this with keyboard shortcuts to nudge it up. That's close, but it's not quite there. So let's go in and I can see why. There we go. Cool. All right. So again, zooming in can be quite useful for this kind of thing. So I'm just going to drag this in. I know some of you are probably watching this going, that's entirely too much effort, too much work. And like, I get it. It's in some ways I enjoy editing, and that's why I sort of do it in this kind of fashion. But I know it's not for everybody. I know that's kind of the reason why those AI tools exist and why there are services and people that do other things. Okay, that's brilliant. That's very much where I want it to be. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to, and it's fun, I'm going to come down, I'm going to actually bring this full recording. Normally, I would actually just get rid of this entirely at this point in time, but I think it might actually be kind of a useful prompt here, because when I sort of disappear, when Sam disappears from the screen, it might be useful to sort of show that in context. But what I will do is I'm going to silence the audio so I'm not hearing both of our voices twice, because I'm pretty happy with where that is. What I will do though, I'm going to move Sam to the top of this screen. And again, I don't know if you saw that earlier, but I'm just going to toggle the visibility on the horizontal and the full recording for a second. This is quite intentionally done in OBS Studio this way. I use the ATEM vertical plugin to have a vertical version of what I'm sending to the stream, and I deliberately leave a space at the top sort of blank there for this exact reason, so we can have Sam sort of join us at the top of the screen. So, and again, it's not to say I can't put other things at the top of the screen or cover everything as part of, you know, a bit of B-roll footage, but I just thought that would be a really nifty thing to do. So I know I didn't give anybody any feedback, any warning that this thing was happening, but I am surprised that we haven't had a little bit more participation in the chat. But I guess, you know, maybe I'm not as popular as some other people, but that's okay. We can deal with that. What I will do though, if I can find it, I thought I had another window open, but maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. All right, I'm just gonna go live youtube.com/@learn live streaming, which is the YouTube channel. I'm just going to tweet about that again. I am actually going live out on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it these days. But again, it's probably a weird time to do this. But again, I don't know how many times I can say "but again" in a row like that. But the thing about today is it's a long weekend here in Australia. I have a little bit more time up my sleeve than I normally do. So I do really want to use that if it makes sense to do so. I'm going to bring back the full recording just in the background because I think there will be that sort of gap when Sam's not here. And again, there's a really good chance that the moments I want to feature on different social media platforms won't necessarily be the ones that, you know, from the beginning of the show when we had those technical issues. So I'm pretty happy with this actually at this point in time. And what generally happens now is I'll go through and I'll watch part of this and I'll try and get a sense of what I think might make a good short clip. And then I can actually sort of come in here and Camtasia actually has this really great library feature. So I can select a region in my time zone. I can sort of, in fact, let me show you. Although I'll do it earlier. Oh, actually I can move this, that's fine. So what I do is I start somewhere. Again, I don't know what I'm really starting here, but let's just imagine there's some great clip here. I can see the duration, that's that bottom number in that pop-up dialog box. So again, I probably want to get in quite close to about a minute. If I want to do something on YouTube Shorts, for example, I can do that. I can sort of listen to this. And again, I'm conscious of the fact that you can't hear any of that, but that's fine. But what I can actually do within Camtasia is I can right click in this region. They have this option, which is add timeline selection to library. I can choose which library I'd like to do this to. On this new computer that I'm using, I only have the default, but I give it a name. I can say whether I want to use the canvas size or the visible size. And the great thing about this is if I go to the media and then to my library, and they've kind of changed how this works, but essentially I've got these little projects that I can just create a new file. I can drag them onto them. I can sort of ungroup them and I can rearrange them however I like. So that can be really, really cool. So again, if you're just joining me, I'm just chilling, we're just hanging out. It's a very low-key thing that I'm doing today. Again, I'm actually working at my stand desk, but normally I would only be standing, but lately I've been experimenting a little bit more with the sit stand stuff, so I'm hoping this is going to be a little bit more comfortable for me. I'm kind of a grumpy old man and my body aches all the time, so I do what I can to get by. But today we're just we're playing with Camtasia. We're just repurposing some clips. Again, I'm probably not going to sit here and bring you through this entire process, but what we might do, and I hadn't really planned to do this, but let's live dangerously. I'm going to open CapCut. So I guess I should say, like, it is possible to add captions and to add what they call annotations in Camtasia. It's a slightly different process to many other pieces of software. They very much have this sense that accessible closed captions, or open captions for that matter, are very different things to the quote-unquote fancy captions that we see a lot on social media. So often I will use Camtasia in conjunction with CapCut, which is from ByteDance, the company responsible for TikTok. Again, I know some people have a lot of feelings about that, and that's fine. You need to sort of decide what's appropriate for you to do. But let me just bring over CapCut to this screen where you can hopefully see it. And I've basically got some projects that I've created earlier. So let's just go into this one. I don't even know what this is, but we'll open it up. It's one I prepared earlier, evidently. So you'll see here, this is a classic example. This is a clip of Sam and I talking about something. I've come in and I've sort of added in these captions. And I know some people are very fond of the one word at a time and super animated. I don't really want that. I just want enough context that if you are sort of following along and you can't listen, or maybe you are deaf or hard of hearing, that you can sort of get the gist of what is actually happening here. So I should say too, like if you come into the text options in CapCut, you can actually do auto captions. And the other thing too is if you do have captioning files from outside of CapCut, you can bring those in. They will actually appear, even if they're not automatically created, they will still appear in this local caption section, which is pretty much what I did here. But if you don't have captions, you can actually choose a language. You can say create captions. You can just clear the captions as well. I don't know if I'll actually do that. It'll basically go through and do its thing. It's really important that you actually come through and click on the caption track. And over here where it says captions, and again, my head's probably going to obscure a fair bit of this, but I could probably move this, but I don't know if I'll bother. But essentially, we've got the captions sort of right behind my head there. So if you go through and just check that it's correct. The other thing I have noticed about the auto captions is they won't really include capitalization. They'll get things wrong. So just spend a little bit of time going through those and just checking them. The great thing about this is once you've established that they're correct, like they look okay, they're doing their thing, and it's all good to go, you can come in here. So you go from the captions section, and you do this after you select the caption track. You can update the captions, then you can go to the text options, and this is where you can actually think about how they're being displayed on the video, if you choose to display them on the video. If you don't want them on the video, you can always hide this track and that'll get rid of them. But essentially what you can do is you can go through here and you can sort of make adjustments. I guess what I encourage you to do first is go through and make sure they look okay. And then you can adjust things like the fonts and the sentence case and the alignments and the positioning and the background options, all of the things that are flashing behind my head as I speak. There's glow, there's all kinds of templates in there too if you want to use them. Again, I try to prioritize readability over all else because I think they are sort of, you know, it can be fun to have things flashing on your screen, but it can also be really distracting. And I'm not one of those people that needs a cut every 3 to 6 seconds. I'm kind of the opposite of that, which we spoke about on yesterday's show, funnily enough. So you've got animation options, but the great thing about this is once you're happy with these as a whole, you can actually go through, and there's this under the text options, there's an apply to all checkbox. So the minute you turn this off, you can actually start working with these individually. And that means if there are particular words that you want to maybe change the color of, for example, and again, I realize this is right behind my head, but take my word for it, I can click in here and that'll adjust that on sort of a caption by caption basis. And you can actually, I'm going to get rid of that one because I don't really want to change the file that I already had, so I'm going to get rid of that. But if we come out here and I'll just, I might even just, going to quit. Is it going to quit the whole program? It is. Okay. So I'm just going to open it up again because I want to show you perhaps another project. And again, I'm not really sure which ones I have here. Because I did actually have a different computer up until quite recently. So a lot of my files are on a different computer now. But if we just imagine, though, that one of these projects, and I'm not really sure what I've got here. I've got Michelle J. Raymond's. Let's have a look at this one. Because the other thing you can do, too, is that if you do show something and you've got to actually move these captions, once you've selected that, you deselect the apply to all. That's the point at which I could literally just move this down, or if you prefer to do it by numbers, you've got this position and size section here as well. Okay, so I mean, those are some of the things that you certainly can do, and I'm going to go and spend some time in Camtasia just because that's the program I like using. And there's lots of great options out there. Some of them are pretty technical. Some of them are pretty straightforward. Use whatever makes sense for you. And I think in a lot of ways, it can be really tempting to want to run off and join the new hotness. But the reality is often what you want to do is just find one product and learn it deeply and get to know it really well. It's funny being in front of this this dark interface, wearing this dark gray polo shirt. I kind of blend into the background. Normally I wear sort of brighter colors like white and blue, but that's okay. So I'm probably going to wrap this up now. It's been great to have your company. If you have been watching this and lurking in the background, feel free to say hi if you want. And if you want to catch up with this later, it's entirely up to you. Like I said, it's very unstructured content today. I just wanted to show you a bit of behind the scenes. So have a great weekend, and especially for those of you that might get Monday off as well, enjoy that time and do what you got to do and have a good time. Don't forget that my name's John Lacey. If you want to learn more about anything I'm doing, you can head over to youtube.com at Learn Live Streaming. And there's probably, I'm sure I have a banner here, but it's so tiny in my teleprompter, I probably am not even sure I would click on the right one, but that's okay. Check it out. Follow me wherever you're watching. Like, subscribe, all of the things. I would certainly appreciate that. So I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for your company.